The shocking murder in court. A dangerous criminal kills the lawyer, right in front of the judge. Intro. The screen fades in, showing a calm and quiet courtroom, the kind where justice is supposed to be served. Suddenly, a chilling silence falls over the room, and the camera zooms in on the people gathered inside: the judge, the lawyers, and the criminal on trial. As we listen to the sound of a gavel hitting, the voiceover says, "What would you do if you witnessed a murder right in front of you, inside the walls of a courtroom, no less?" Scene 1. The courtroom set up. It's a normal day in court. The judge is seated at the front, his face stern and focused. The prosecutor is preparing his notes, and the defense lawyer, a respected and seasoned professional, stands with confidence, ready to face the criminal on trial. The criminal, who appears calm, is seated across from the lawyer, his eyes hidden under a dark hood. The tension in the room is palpable, though everything seems routine at first. Voiceover. But inside this courtroom, there was an undercurrent of something far more sinister. No one could predict that this would be a day when the very foundation of justice would be shaken. Scene 2. Rising tension. The trial proceeds, with the defense lawyer making his arguments, presenting evidence, and skillfully questioning witnesses. The criminal sits quietly, watching everything unfold, but his calmness is deceptive. A bead of sweat runs down his forehead, and his eyes occasionally flicker nervously toward the exit. Voiceover. The lawyer was unaware of the danger lurking just a few feet away. The criminal, who had already shown his dangerous tendencies, was biding his time, waiting for the perfect moment. Scene 3. The murder. Suddenly, without warning, the courtroom erupts in chaos. The criminal stands, quick as lightning, and pulls a weapon from beneath his jacket. The lawyer, caught off guard, barely has time to react before the criminal lunges at him. The weapon strikes, and the lawyer falls to the ground, blood pooling beneath him. The room bursts into screams. People scramble for cover, knocking over chairs, and the judge is frozen in shock, unable to process what is happening in front of him. The criminal looks around briefly, assessing the chaos, and then bolts toward the exit, disappearing into the corridor. Voiceover. The lawyer, once so confident in the courtroom, is now lying lifeless on the floor. In an instant, the criminal has shattered everything that was supposed to be safe. The judge, powerless to stop it, can only watch in horror as the unthinkable occurs right in front of him. Scene 4. The escape. The camera cuts to police officers rushing toward the courtroom doors, trying to chase the criminal, but he's already vanished. The camera follows his shadowy figure as he makes his way down the corridor, escaping through a back door and disappearing into the busy streets. Outside, sirens blare, and people are running, but the criminal is long gone. Voiceover. And just like that, the criminal disappears into the night. His escape is swift, and the authorities are left scrambling to figure out how such a brazen act could occur within the very walls meant to uphold justice. Scene 5. The aftermath. News outlets pick up the story immediately. Journalists flood the scene, and the camera captures the chaos that has taken over the courthouse. The judge, still shaken, is seen speaking to police officers, trying to make sense of how something so horrific could happen in his courtroom. Meanwhile, the police have launched a manhunt, with officers combing through every possible lead. Voiceover. The hunt is on. The criminal, dangerous and ruthless, has escaped justice for now. But what happens when a man with nothing left to lose is on the run? And how long before he strikes again? Outro. The screen fades to black, and dramatic music plays as text appears. Will the criminal be caught? How did he manage to pull off such a crime in front of the judge? Stay tuned for the latest updates. Voiceover. In a world where justice is meant to prevail, what happens when the law itself is broken in the most unexpected of places? This is a story that will leave you questioning the very system that is supposed to protect us all. Sure. Here's the next part, continuing the story and building further suspense. Scene 6. The investigation. Begins. The police quickly arrive at the scene, securing the area and starting their investigation. Detectives are seen gathering evidence, speaking to witnesses, and taking statements from the shocked courtroom staff. The camera zooms in on the blood-stained floor where the lawyer fell, showing the grim reality of the crime. The judge, visibly disturbed, is being escorted to his chambers by a senior officer who tries to comfort him but also presses for information. Voiceover. In the aftermath, the courtroom turns from a place of justice to a crime scene. As detective, comb through the wreckage of what was meant to be a fair trial. The questions pile up. How did the criminal pull off such a brazen act in front of everyone? And more importantly, where is he now? Scene 7. The criminal's background. Cut to a flashback sequence showing the criminal's previous crimes and his dangerous history. News reports and police files reveal his history of violence, including prior arrests, escapes, and threats made against the legal system. The criminal was known to have a vendetta against the law, and many believed he would strike again, but no one could have predicted it would be this extreme. Voiceover. This wasn't the criminal's first brush with the law. With a trail of violence and hatred for the very system that condemned him, he had become a man on a mission. But no one, not even the police, were prepared for what he would do next. Scene 8. The hunt intensifies. A montage shows the police working tirelessly to track down the criminal. Roadblocks are set up on highways, surveillance footage is analyzed, and officers speak with locals in neighborhoods the criminal was known to frequent. Meanwhile, the criminal is shown in hiding, constantly on the move, changing his appearance and staying one step ahead of the law. Tension builds as the police seem to be closing in on him, but with each lead, the criminal manages to escape their grasp. Voiceover. The manhunt grows more desperate with each passing hour. Every lead seems promising, but every time they get close, he slips further into the shadows. His knowledge of the system makes him a formidable foe. And with every passing minute, he grows bolder. Scene 9. A new twist. A message for the judge. The police receive a mysterious message, an envelope left anonymously at the courthouse. Inside is a letter from the criminal, addressed directly to the judge who witnessed the murder. The letter is chilling, filled with threats and taunts, suggesting that this was only the beginning of a bigger plan. The judge reading the letter is shaken to his core as he realizes the criminal is targeting him specifically. Voiceover. The criminal's intentions become clear. This wasn't just about one murder, it's personal. The judge, who had no idea that he would become the next target, now finds himself at the center of a deadly game. Scene 10. The judge's dilemma. The judge, now in constant fear for his life, is offered protection by the police. However, he's torn. His sense of duty and responsibility weighs heavily on him, but the threat hanging over him is real. He begins to question his own role in the case, wondering if he could have prevented this, or if he's somehow responsible for the chaos. He receives more cryptic messages from the criminal, who seems to be watching his every move. Voiceover. As the judge grapples with his own guilt, the criminal's mind games only intensify. He is no longer just a fugitive. He's a master manipulator, forcing the judge to confront the most difficult question of all. How far will he go to stop this madness? Scene 11. A shocking revelation. As the investigation continues, the police make a shocking discovery. Someone inside the courthouse may have been working with the criminal. A leak within the system has made it possible for the criminal to stay one step ahead. The officers begin questioning everyone connected to the case, and the trust within the legal system begins to crumble. Voiceover. The real question now is, who can you trust? The very system that was meant to protect everyone may have been compromised, and the criminal might not be working alone. As more secrets come to light, the line between good and evil becomes increasingly blurred. Outro cliffhanger. The video ends with a dramatic cliffhanger moment. The criminal, still at large, is shown standing outside the courthouse in the dark, watching it all unfold from a distance. The judge receives another anonymous letter, this one even more threatening. The camera zooms in on the letter as it's opened, but just as the judge reads the first line, The screen cuts to black. Voiceover. The clock is ticking and the tension is rising. Will justice prevail, or has it already been shattered beyond repair? The answers are still out there, and the chase continues. Stay tuned for the shocking conclusion. Here's the next part, continuing to build on the suspense and intensity. Scene 12. The breakthrough. A hidden connection. The police uncover a crucial lead when they trace the criminal's previous contacts, discovering a hidden connection to someone in the legal world. Through a deep dive into the criminal's past, investigators find that the criminal had connections to an underground network that had been targeting high-profile figures in the justice system for years. Suddenly, the investigation takes a darker turn. The officer in charge, Detective Harris, realizes that the case is much bigger than a single murder. It's part of a large,